Hey guys, this is Greg with Medical Muscle. In this video, I'm going to talk about why teamwork makes the dream work, why you need teammates, why you need good friends in medical school to do well. Because medical school is way too competitive and way too hard to be on your own. You can't. You have to have a good core of teammates to make this happen, okay? And I'm going to explain why. 3 points. Number one is that it can improve your exam scores right off the bat, okay? I can give you a couple examples. One of them, starting in term 1 through term 3, so term 1, 2, and 3, I would meet up with my small group cohort that I met in term 1, and we would meet up twice a week. Once on Wednesdays and once I think on Sundays, okay? And we would go over half the week's content during that little study session, and basically a person would have all the lecture slides and they'd be quizzing the group. And it's fun because you're all kind of competing against each other to see who can answer the question. So there's a little bit of competition in there, which makes you stay more engaged in the review. But it's good for people who are not as good of a student, because then it motivates you saying, you know what? I want to make sure I get more of these answers next time. So I'm gonna pay attention more on the content. So that the competitiveness helps you also push it a little bit harder. Also, the other benefit is sometimes people will explain a reasoning to why they got the answer because of some way that they think, and it might not be the way you thought of the same content, so it kind of helps see it in a different way, or someone has some little trick that they've made up, and it's actually very helpful. So really good. So we did that twice a week, right? So Wednesdays, we would just cover Monday through Wednesday's content, and then the Sunday review was going to be, Thursday and Friday's content. No more than 40 minutes. It was a Zoom lecture, whatever, the Zoom duration. So 40 minutes, be able to do all this. It's helpful that the group is not too big. I think 5 or 6, that's a good max. Smaller is usually better, but not too small. You want different viewpoints. Okay, another way to utilize teammates is the big review at the end, toward the end of the exam block, okay, when you're reviewing all the material, right? So say that you have an exam, so it's a 4-week long exam, and you have an exam on Friday. So basically I would go a week before the exam day. So let's say Thursday, because you would stop studying on that Thursday prior to the Friday that you're going to take the exam. So Thursday, say there's 21 lectures for that whole block. It's usually way more, but I'm just giving that as an example. There's 21 lectures, and you have 7 days to study before your exam. So I divide the number of lectures by how many days that I was giving myself, so that week. So that would be 3 lectures a day that I would have to review, and it's helpful to have a friend get through that process, okay? And have, someone quiz you on these lecture slides. So what I do is meet up with this person, maybe a couple people, a few, don't get too many in this one because you got to move quick. And we would go through those 3 lectures together. Shouldn't take more than an hour. You should be able to blast through 3 lectures pretty easily. DLAs too, right? So, the person I was studying with would look at the lecture slides and they just ask me questions. They're like, do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember this? And they're just try to quiz me. Same situation as before. And then we'd switch and then be like, do you remember this? Remember this? And if we have any little hints on how to memorize things, then, we'd share it. And it's a good way just to review everything. And then so by that Thursday, we've both reviewed the whole block of material. Okay. The last really helpful way to help you study is to do questions together. I feel like that is very useful because at the end of the night, I kind of wanted to take it easy, but it was nice to be motivated by someone else to get these questions done. So we would meet together, maybe like 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that, after I've done all my reviews for that day, and now test my knowledge and do some questions. So we just do a minimum of 10 questions. Shouldn't take you more than like 30, 40 minutes, something like that. Because we're going slow, we're answering the question, kind of discuss it. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes the question's easy for both of us. We both understand what's going on, then boom, we don't need to talk about it. That was very effective. Where I think you should not use friends or study partners is while you're doing the initial review, okay? You're pre-reading, you're post-reading, where you're kind of consolidating the material and trying to understand it, learn it, is on your own time. Don't mix friends in there because it's so tough. That's the hard part, is like trying to figure out what the content is, okay? So, seclude yourself from people. Honestly, that's what I had to do. You do not want distractions. And I noticed that people who were always chit-chatting ended up failing a freaking term. You really have to seclude yourself. And take that, when you're going to meet up with friends, it's really on these reviews after you've already covered a lot of material. Okay, so. All right, now, here's the second reason. So they can improve your grades. But the other reason is sharing content or information, okay? This is huge. This is so important because it's what keeps you on track, right? In medical school, there's all these timelines. There's tons of them. There's all these things that you have to pay for and have to submit, and paperwork you have to turn in to get like UWorld set up or elective set up or there's so many things, right? All these deadlines. And it's really helpful to have people checking and saying, hey, did you know that we have to get this submitted by today? Did you know we have to have this in by today? So helpful. Obviously, there's material that can also be shared, right? Someone made a Google Doc. Someone's got access to a Google Doc of a synthesized version of all the lectures, or all this one kind of content is all in one file. You still have access to it, but some other student has made this nice compressed little thing that just makes it easier access. Or someone has access to an Anki deck that's really good, and you would have not known about it if you weren't sitting with a group of people. This is why you shouldn't be the lone wolf. It does not work in medical school. How are you going to know this stuff? You won't, okay? All right, and the last reason is the emotional and motivational support that you get from your friends. Seriously, medical school can get really hard. I don't know why life can get so hard in medical school. So things outside of life, relationships, family, all that stuff can get really tough too. And it's nice to have people there to support you. You're not just isolated, okay? It's also good to have the motivational support. If your friends are doing well, it keeps you wanting to do well too, right? So find good, competitive friends. Friendly competitive. I don't even want to say that. Good students who are doing well, okay? Not toxic, not gunners. Don't be friends with those people. That's rough. That's rough. But people that are wanting to do well in medical school, that's a good group to have. You want friends that are in IEA because you can trade study tips. You can ask them, hey, you got an A on that last exam. How'd you do it? That's a good thing. Those are good people to be around. You're going to surround yourself with a good group. I've heard from someone who was very wise, who said, you're the average of your closest friends. Okay, you're the average. So if they're all very smart, you're probably going to be smart by default. Okay? All right, guys. I wish you the best of luck. And seriously, keep kicking booty.